Hello, everyone. I hope that you guys are doing well, and thank you for listening to these messages. Um, I do again have a YouTube podcast under obviously Judah Reigns. Um, if you are on another platform, go ahead and go over there and check it out and support the platform. It is great information that speaks to the past and present, but um, it really speaks to the future and what to expect going forward from this day. And so I want to touch on New Jerusalem again, and which has been my focal point as of late because we are now making that transition. And I want to tap onto something in the news regarding the football coach who has basically lost his livelihood due to mixing himself up uh, with white women or with women that are not of his lineage and heritage. I'm speaking of Sharon Moore, who's the coach. I believe he was the coach for Michigan University, a black man who has navigated himself up to the heights of success in this wicked society. And far too often, like so many of his ilk, he has a woman that does not look like him at all as his spouse, and he has shared his wealth with a foreigner. And so I want to talk about that a little bit because I heard just recently listened to a podcaster who is dear to me. I mean, I want to say from the offset that his spirit is one um, of pleasantness and what I can glean from him is that he absolutely loves the Most High in his heart. He seems like a dear man, a sweet man, a man that would probably make a black woman very very happy in relationship with him. But he spoke on something about the coming kingdom that is actually unfolding before us of God, the kingdom of New Jerusalem, and how what has been transpiring. This is what I gleaned. So again, I'm not putting words in his mouth. I'm telling you what I got from this his sermon. And then he kept saying about this is not about race. This is not about race. And unfortunately, it is about race, and New Jerusalem is going to be about race. And so I said in my previous series on New Jerusalem that probably the persons that are a person or persons that will be the most unhappy when it's fully established and in full bloom is going to be black men. That they are going to be probably, there's going to be a lot of black folks that are going to be pissed. I know we presuppose that everybody in the nation is going to be very happy once we are set free from our captors, but that's not true. The sober-minded and those that are receiving the Holy Spirit is letting us know that no, actually, we're not everybody's going to be happy. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be upset. And so when I was driving home, the creator of the universe brought to my mind about the iron rule. And this is what is going to take place when the kingdom is fully established and public and everybody knows that we live in a different paradigm. And so even though it's been happening for almost, some say, over a century that we've gotten to this point. But in the Bible, it speaks about the iron rule. So let me go ahead and get that scripture for you. So it's actually in Revelations chapter 2, verse 27. And it says, "And he shall shepherd the people with an iron rod, so that they will be broken to pieces like clay vessels, the same as I have received from my Father." All right. So let's talk about it, shall we? There is a book called The Plan of the Ages that came out in the early 1900s, and I'm going to read out of the Kingdom of God. And you can find what I'm going to read on page 302 in that book if you have it. And the title of the chapter of that page is The Iron Rule. It says, many erroneously suppose that when Christ's millennial kingdom is inaugurated, everyone will be pleased with its ruling, but not so. Its regulations will be far more exacting than those of any previous government. And the liberties, listen, the liberties of the people will be restricted to a degree that will be galling indeed to many now clamoring for an increased liberty. Let me stop right there. So what that means is that we were taken into slavery based on race. And as a matter of fact, they have held this country under their dominion by race. If you have nappy hair and black skin, then you are not a part of the ruling class. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, no matter how many degrees you've had, and no matter who you are lying in bed with, it doesn't matter. As this man Mr. Moore, who ascended the ladder up in the upper echelons of the society, but was brought down low quickly because he was messing with someone outside of his race. And no, this would not have happened to such a degree if she was a nappy-headed black woman. Let me continue to read. It goes, liberty to deceive, to misrepresent, to overreach, and to defraud others will be entirely cut off. Liberty to abuse themselves or others in food or in drink or in any way to corrupt good manners will be totally denied to all. And that includes what's happening between your legs. Why? Because that has been the most effective tool that has allowed the children of the great Satan to control us this long. It is also possibly the real reason or the underpinning reason of why we went into slavery in the first place. Sexual discipline is going to be the utmost concern of Christ's kingdom administration. As a matter of fact, probably the majority of Christ's kingdom administration probably have never had an intimate relationship with another human being. And I can see the reasoning of that from the Most High so that we are not tainted by what a person's genitalia has done to our mind and our heart. We are free and clear to operate along the guidelines to ensure that the people in New Jerusalem are the people who are supposed to be there. Now, we are going to have some of the Gentiles serving us in our lands, that's for sure. But there will be a territory set out for them to where when they're done with their service, they will go back to that land. Just like with white folks, we can come into their homes, we can cook, we can clean, but then we take our asses right back to our neighborhoods, which is sometimes miles away from where they live. So it will be with Christ's kingdom. It goes on to say, liberty or license to do wrong of any sort will not be granted to any. Ooh, that's deep. The only liberty that will be granted to any will be the true and glorious liberty of the sons of God. Liberty to do good, to themselves and others in any way and in every way. But nothing will be allowed to injure or destroy in all that holy kingdom. And so some of these women and men that y'all have hooked up with is not the kingdom's problem. Some of them are literally the children of the great Satan that you have taken to your bed. That is not the kingdom's problem. And then there's going to have to be a separation for a little while. And they will have to prove themselves worthy of you and worthy of the people that they wish to join in that bed. Again, there are going to be a lot of good things about the kingdom and about where we are going. But like I said, some of y'all going to have to make a choice. And some of y'all, I don't think will be given that choice. You're just going to have to come in. Man, this is deep. Even if your children have two different sets of parents, they will have to make a choice, or the kingdom administration will make a choice depending on the age of who they want to be with, or who will be the right person for that child to be with. Just like you do with the courts. The court system of today is called custody disputes. They decide for you, the white man decides for you where that child's going to go and how much time they have with you and how much time they'll have with their parent. It will be the same way in the kingdom. But it will be even more exacting, because if that child, depending on the age and the temperament of that child, it may best be served to be with you, or it may best be served to be with the parent for a protracted period of time before there's any back and forth. And I'm talking about those of you who have decided to take a white man, or for the majority of you, a white woman to your bedside, or a foreign woman who is not a descendant of American slaves, is not a part of the Hebrew tribe. And even then, some of the Hebrew tribe people, if they have like a quarter or so, don't think that they just get to come in and live in Jerusalem, because of we'll be looking at the lineage of how did these people act when we were down at the bottom. If they practice racism, then they got to go to the territories, period. A couple other scriptures to read is Isaiah 11:9 and Romans 8:21. But let me go ahead and close this out. It says the rule will consequently be felt by many to be a severe one, breaking up all their former habits and customs, as well as breaking up present institutions founded upon these false habits and false ideas of liberty. Because of its firmness and vigor, it is symbolically called the Iron Rule. All of the things that we have been doing will be turned upside down. All of them. And it's going to be felt from the highest to the lowest in varying degrees. But it will be along the line of race. And I'm sorry to say that, but that is how the great Satan has dealt with us mightily, and the creator of the universe will do the same. He's got to, or she's got to, break that up. And so what I would like for you to consider is how you can begin to prepare yourself for that change. But that's going to be another tape. Let me finish with this here. It says, he shall rule them with the rod of iron. And an iron doesn't bend, it doesn't break, it can hold up under fire, unless it's a certain degree, but it lasts forever. It's exacting. It goes on to say, thus will be fulfilled the statement, judgment will I lay to the line and righteousness to the plummet. And you know what I think about when that does that plummet thing is that now for some of them, when they're looking for a straight line, they will balls in, or they will treat this little line gadget that they will hold, and then they snap it, And when they snap it, then that line lays down on the surface, creating a straight line without any deviations. So that's what I think of. And it finishes, and the hail, righteousness, judgment shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the waters, truth, shall overflow. The hiding places and every hidden thing shall be revealed. And so, many of our relationships with our open enemies, many of the things that we have carried in thought, many of the things that they have carried in thought will be revealed. Like, for instance, with this young man who was going between this coach who was going between two white women. They weren't honest brokers with him, especially the mistress who understood that he was with someone else. And then, you know, I guess she got pregnant or whatnot. So it's a whole big mess of, you know, when she felt like, oh my goodness, this is about to go left. Or there could also be a matter of control. And clearly, his weakness got to him, right? Because of his not being disciplined below the waist, like so many of our brothers who are not disciplined below the waist, and then reflect that upon the females that they are dealing with. And even for us as women, we're not making the best choices in regards to our male counterparts. And some of us will make a choice knowing that that man has other obligations and still produce a whole new life because we want to be loved or we want to get something from them. And then because we're the most powerless person on the planet, when we don't get that, then we want to raise Cain. And so all of that has got to be worked out. Even the relationships between us have got to be straightened out before we can even get into a relationship with anybody else. And so that is going to be one of the tenets that will be taken care of in New Jerusalem. So I think we need to prepare ourselves because it's going to look diametrically different than what we have been used to. And that difference can literally happen overnight, because many of those who are representative of who are going to be in the governmental part of Christ's kingdom have been trained for decades. And if we have some that have gone to the grave and will be risen up, I mean, you think of like a Malcolm X coming back. You know what I mean? Or if we're so blessed to have this man resurrected, John Henry Clark coming back with the views that he has. These Amos Wilson is another one. These are men who are not going to be playing around, and they are going to be empowered by the angels, which is the last thing I want to say, is that we are going to have the angels here that are going to be helping us so that there's no room for overthrow when we finally figure out what the kingdom really is. And figure out means that our eyes are going to be open because it's going to be in front of us. So there is a video that you may want to check out if you haven't. It has an interviewer by the name of Kerry Cassidy. The name of that man was Norman R. Bergen, Bergun, I believe is where it's spelled. And so this man had no reason to lie about that. And so just note that when they are here, that they are serving the Most High, and that they don't think like we do. And so they know the truth from the beginning to the end of this planet's history. And so they're going to be, they're going to be here to ensure that that the kingdom is flourishing and it is cemented and is doing all the things that it needs to do. So I think that we're going to have a sense of relief, but we're also probably, some of us are also going to be very, very upset. And that's okay. We'll get to the place where you can be happy and find some common ground with other people that look like you and that talk like you and that walk like you. And so we have so much to look forward to regarding our uplift. And we're going to be totally concentrating on getting well. So actually, I'm going to do a part two because there's just a little bit more that I want to say about this. So stay tuned for that. Thank you.